So I will start by going over this process and give you an example of how this works. Now, it's important to understand that in reality, probably some of these steps won't be separated. Sometimes when you come up with ideas, you have this idea instantly and you skip some steps, or you go back into the process and go back looking for references again, and ideas build on ideas. I tried to separate the steps of this process to make it as clear as possible how to use this process and how you can make it work for yourself. So I want to start off with the input being these three words: pirate, angry, and opening a box. So we have a character, we have an emotion, and we have an action. But it is not said that I have to draw a pirate. It's just the input. It is something that I can use to spark ideas. These words will start interacting in my mind. I will form combinations between them, and any idea I get from these ideas is a valid idea. So that's what I will be working with. It is a boundary in a way, but I don't consider it boundaries. I consider it direction. You know, for me, it is always really nice if I know what the limits are, so I have a direction, a goal to work towards. At the same time, what I try to do is to use these words and come up with ideas that are not the most obvious ideas. So for example, what you'll see me do in a moment is creating a list of words that come up when I see these three words. Now, if I would start drawing right away, it would probably be me drawing a 19th century pirate who's angry, who opens a treasure chest. The first thing that comes to mind. The purpose of creating a list and allowing yourself to come up with associations that are not the first thing that come to mind, but they do come to mind because they are related to the subject. That is where you can create unique combinations that are a little bit outside the box and that are much more interesting because they can become more elaborate ideas. Now, these things are given. I'm not going to change these three words. It helps me to have those boundaries so I can become creative within those boundaries. The first thing that I'll do is I'll start making lists. Initially, I'll start with a process of thinking of words, the things that come up when I think of the words pirate, angry, and box. You could also add opening or opening a box. You can start thinking of a list of words on anything that's given in the input. I chose those three words to keep it clear. Those are the main words of the input. So with pirate, first things come to mind are 17th century, hook, wooden leg, sword, treasure, sailor, criminal, beard, eye patch, the Goonies, and explorer. When I think of angry, I forget about the pirate, just thinking of angry itself. And I think of screaming, fighting, hurt, injustice, aggressive, destroying, bully, punch, yelling, fist, and uncontrolled. Then box. Again, I forget about all the other things and think, well, in this case, I did think of the pirate still because the first thing that came up was treasure chest. But then present, a small box with a ring, the one when someone proposes, mail package, shoebox, coffin, suitcase, sandbox, cardboard box, container, and litter box. All kinds of boxes. Those are the things that come to mind first. Then next, this was words. I can also do the same thing with images. I can look at images in the very same way. So I can take those words and look on Google or wherever on the internet and find images. When I think of pirate, what do I find? And I can already start thinking what could be useful if I want to create something with a pirate. So I come up with different images of different types of pirate outfits. I thought of hook. These are different versions. This is an existing story and it has been turned into plays and movies several times. So these are different versions of Captain James Hook. Wooden leg. And when I searched on that, I don't get just results for a pirate with a wooden leg. There are different types of wooden legs. When you look at the man with the rifle, what interests me there is the way the wooden leg is connected to his leg. When we look at I think it's a tattoo, it's almost like it has wood carving in an actual leg. But that could be interesting when you draw a pirate with a wooden leg and it has this kind of carving in it. Then the one top right it almost looks like a metal leg. Maybe there is even some springs in there so he walks with more ease. Different things that come up that don't necessarily have to do with the pirate itself. It's just something that could be useful. Angry. A monkey, that's not a pirate, but the expression, it says something about how he feels. And looking at these, I saw that there is internal anger and external anger, where man with the red shirt sitting on the couch, that looks like someone who is holding his anger in. He might explode at some point, but at this time he's angry on the inside, just like the monkey. But that anger fellow top right, he's exploding with anger. The man, waving his finger at someone. It's almost like he is attacking. It's the anger is coming out. Box. Different types of boxes. And again, I don't really think yet of what the result may be. I just look at a variety of options here to fill my mind with and to look, maybe I can use this approach, I'm just putting information in my mind. And then I go to the next phase, which is the incubation. And this is where my mind is now filled with all this information, and in my mind I can actively start combining things, but a huge part, and the incubation part, is where you let go of all the information and let your mind do the combining for you. It's a combination of both the active process and the rest process, where things just need to cook for a while. What I did here is I placed on this sheet the images that I looked for, the words that I came up with, all the information based on the input, and let's see what happens if I start combining this information. So this is where we get to illumination. This is where the ideas come up. What if a pirate is actually an action figure in a box, but the kid who gets it never wanted a pirate, she wanted a Barbie, so she's really angry. I combined all the elements from the input in a way that fits the boundaries of this input, fits the requirements of the assignment, but I could do it a completely different way as well. What if a man proposes to a woman, but this man, he has this hook instead of a hand. So when she puts the ring around the hook, it constantly falls off, and this is her expression then. Another approach of the same assignment, which completely fits the requirements, but is a completely different story. Or this, what if this is a pirate who is really angry because he got buried while he was still alive? Same requirements, different story. Or what if an explorer finds a treasure, and when he opens the box, it's empty, and this is how he feels. So these are different ideas that come from the same input. And now what I've done so far is mostly the thinking process. We need to take this last step, and that is implementation, which is the most interesting step, because this is where you turn these ideas into something visual. So let's move on to the process of implementation. And what I like to do there is, within the process of implementation, use the exact same steps that we have taken so far, because turning these ideas into something visual is actually another creative process.